Hello, we're back to Mel Talk. I want to thank every single person that has been watching my video. I saw the views in a matter of 2 days and I'm just floored. I don't know, it's crazy. This is awesome. I'm excited. Nervous still, but we'll get there. This is Mel Talk, like I mentioned, and it's a vlogging therapy for myself and for possibly others. It would help in the long run. I am hoping that something good will come for this either way. Yes, I abruptly stopped my last video, and I'm so sorry. I am not, savvy when it comes to this, but I may be amazing when this is done. I have no idea. I'm pretty sure it will happen. I pretty much am determined and get things done, so, we'll get there. I abruptly stopped at 7 years old, I believe. It was a life-changing time for me. I had a lot going on at 7. It sounds kind of weird to pick that age, but it happened. A lot of things. So I mentioned my mother had gotten the call and, from my stepdad, aka her boyfriend at that time, and he wanted to move us to Hawaii. My mom was like, no. And I'm like, let's lash out, which sounds pretty common. I think anyone would want to go to Hawaii at that age. But I was very upset. I didn't talk to her for a while after that. But a lot of things changed. She met somebody. I had mentioned him prior in the video, but she was with him for 21 years, which you will therefore find out in the future how he was an issue, and other than that in our life, a lot of different things I could say. But yeah, a lot of things changed at 7. My favorite animal in the world was put to sleep. I'll give a backstory on him here, and he was my favorite dog ever. His name was Brutus. He was a chow chow, big and furry, looked like a lion. He was amazing, but he only liked me and my mother. So he had some incidences and biting people, but the last straw for my mom and everyone else, I guess, was the last incident that happened. A little backstory on my mother mixed in with the dog situation. So my mother enjoyed having parties a lot, and especially when I was there. And, when I wasn't, or I was at my dad's or something. But there was a lot of parties at my house randomly. So I was kind of used to it, unfortunately. I grew up in a lot of loud noises and chaos and people yelling and screaming and just trying to sleep in my room with pillows over my head so I couldn't listen to it anymore. I can't say it was all the time, but it was often. I would always come out and see my mom's friends there. Mary Ray, rest in peace. She was her best friend. Another lady named Minnie, another guy named Marv, a bunch of different random people in my home. But no big deal. I dealt with it. So what had happened, I had found out, was that my mother had a party, and one of her friends, that I'm not going to mention, decided to be belligerently drunk and drag my chow chow, my dog, Brutus, down the stairs because she thought he had to go to the bathroom. So she dragged him down the stairs, and I'm not sure what dog would enjoy that, but she did it, and she got bit. He literally bit a hole through her hand. So when you run water through it, it went through the hand. There was an actual hole. And I don't even know how that was even possible, but it happened. He bit her so hard that he went through her hand. Pretty crazy, I found out. I was at my dad's when this happened. I was just told the story. So if it was elaborated, it probably was. I have no idea if there was an actual hole through the hand, but that's what they told me. So I believed it my whole life. And she ended up suing my mother, and my grandma stepped in because she was the one with the money and all that fun stuff. So let's, and they're like, well, you got to put your dog down. And I'm like, that's what they told my mother. So I ended up being at my dad's that whole weekend. I found out all this after, like I said. I came home this Sunday and I walked in the house and she said, she's standing at the top of the stairs. And Mom was like, hi. And I was like, hi. And looking around because my dog always greets me. So where's my dog? He's big, fluffy, can't miss him. So I'm looking around. All of a sudden I hear a meow. And then that's the beginning of the cats. The beginning of all the damn cats. Yeah, her name was Tasha. My mother had brought home a kitty, and she was beautiful. She was gorgeous. And I remember her saying, honey, this is what happened. Da-da-da-da, telling me the story. I just sat down at the bottom of the stairs crying. I didn't even want to move. Yes, there's a cat there for me to look at, and that's exciting. But I didn't have my dog anymore. That was my pride and joy. He was my favorite animal. And I was like devastated. Like, why would you do that without even like telling me? But I guess that's their only way. They thought they could hide the stuff and then bring, a cat home right after. How exciting. Whatever. It became a thing after that. She got another one after that named Kirby, and he was my favorite cat ever. Then I got another one after that named Rascal, which was my cat actually. But I love them all very much. All three of them forever. We had them for a very long time until more came and babies came and all that fun stuff, which we'll talk about later. It's not exciting, or it really isn't that exciting to talk about, but whatever. That was my story. That was what happened. And then after that, we just became, used to being in that environment of my mother using even more. I later found out that the reason why my stepdad stepped away is because he saw her in the bathroom one morning before work using, and I was getting ready for school or something, and he like couldn't believe it. He told me this later on in my life, and I was just like thinking to myself, like, why would she do that? Like, before work, of all things? Jesus, like, come on now. And then, as time has gone on, after like my mom's boyfriend stepped in, her new boyfriend, his name was Kevin, things got even more crazy because he was an alcoholic, recovering, and then my mom and him started using together, and just a bunch of chaos and things like that. But as it got worse, that means that my grandparents stepped in, Bill and my grandmother Dorothy. They made sure that I was not around them, my mom. I went on road trips to Kansas. I went to California. I couldn't tell you how many times I've been to California. 15 plus, at least. That's what I did. I was with them. I would go to my grandma's. Bill would make sure I would go to the lake, or my grandma would make sure I would go to the lake, and White Bear Lake is where I was at. And we went there every single weekend if we could. If not, if I didn't go to my dad's, or during the week even. We did whatever we could she kept me whatever she could do to keep me out of that house. And I'm grateful for that. I am. But I still had to experience all of the crazy things. There was times where I would just barge out of my room because I couldn't stand my mom and Kevin fighting. And there's times where I've seen him like hold my mom back with an alcohol bottle down her throat in the middle of the kitchen. Like, oh, you want to drink and party? And he would say that. And he's like, here, let's drink and party. And like take a bottle and shove it down my mom's throat. And she's throwing up everywhere. And it was the things I had to see every single day. And not necessarily that specifically, but every day was something new. It was a slap, a hit, a scream. That's why to this day, when someone wants to fight with me or have an argument or scream and yell or cause conflict, I don't really back down, but when it gets into an extreme level, I shut down completely. I'm out. I can't. Nope, we're not doing it, because honestly, I'm terrified of how I will react. Because that angry little girl is still there inside sometimes. And if it gets to that level, it comes out. You can ask any of my friends that have seen it. It is not pretty. I don't even know who I am when that happens. It's like an Incredible Hulk, basically. My dad has the same kind of temper, I was told, and my dad says the same thing about himself. He kind of has that bottled up. You push a nice person to a certain point and things happen, which I am. So I dealt with a lot during then. I know that I kind of transitioned during that time frame, getting to between 7 and 10 years old, and 7 and 11, you going into middle school after that, 11 years old, 10, 11 years old. And I became a tomboy. I had a lot of different moments happen to me during that time. I had a moment where I was in a river with my stepmom and her friend, and I nearly almost died. And for those moments, I'm sure my stepmom really, really loves remembering. She said she was so scared to tell my dad what happened. But what happened was, as I was on we were going down a river, and I cannot remember the name of the river. I'm sure she can. She'll tell you if she ever can hop on this, or in the comments, I'm sure. But I was with her and her friend, is it Anita, I think is her name? I can't remember. And we were like all tied together on tubes, and we were going down a river, and it was, our little cooler was in the middle and everything. And we were just vibing down the river. Everything was good. It was a good time. I can't remember if I was 10 or 12. I still can't remember. I'll have to figure it out, but I'm pretty sure it was between those two ages. And I was going, like, my side of the tubing was like heading towards a tree that was coming out of the river. And it was shaped like it had like a V in it. And I was like, oh my God, I'm like going really fast towards this piece. Like, this isn't good. Like, we got to stop. So then I was like, oh, I'm gonna put my foot up. I'll put my foot up. I'll push myself away from it. It'll be totally fine. Well, no, didn't turn out that way. So my foot got stuck in between the V of the tree, and I flew off of the tube, but I grabbed the rope. Unfortunately, the rope ended up being around my neck, and I was underwater, being held underwater. I finally got the rope off of me. I am so grateful for learning how to hold my breath underwater for long periods of time from my grandfather. He taught me that because he was a Marine, like I mentioned before. And honestly, that saved my life. I blacked out. I don't really fully remember everything after that. I do know that they rushed back to get me. And then after that, obviously, scary. But also at the age of 12 years old, middle school was rough, man. I'm not even gonna lie. I was a tomboy. I dressed like a guy, or masculine, I should say. Sorry if that bothers anyone. Masculine. I wore boy jeans, sweaters all the time. I just was a tomboy. That's what I was. I had guy friends, girlfriends, but I liked playing sports and video games and things like that. So I enjoyed that when I was that age. And I do remember at 12 years old that my house was raided. Sometimes it bothers me to talk about it, but I'll get there. I was outside of my townhome that we lived in Venice Heights, and it's the middle of the day. It was like summertime. My mom was at work, like usual. And I was playing with my soccer pail. I don't know if anyone remembers that. What those are, soccer pails, like a ball instead of a net, and you just would hold it, and then you'd kick it so you could learn how to, balance the ball better. I was outside, and 6 black SUVs showed up to my home, parked on the street. I think 8 men got out of the vehicle, all of the vehicles, and walked up. Some were wearing vests, some were wearing suits. And they saw me, and they said, "Is your mother Joanne?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like, what do you need? What's going on?" they're like, well, you're a child, so it's not really something we can, whatever. And I'm like, we need to enter your home. And I'm like, well, why? Why do you need to come in my home? Like, I'm here, I'm home. Like, my mom's at work. Like, what do you need? Just call my mom if you need her. And I was very defensive because I didn't understand, I had no idea. And then they showed me the papers. I was able, obviously, to read that and figure it out. Then I ended up calling my mom. I went to my neighbor's house to do that because I was nervous. And I ran back over to my house because they had it open. Plus my cats were there. I didn't want those to get out. But I do remember that I stood in front of my door saying, you cannot come in here. This is my room. There's nothing in here that you need to look for. But when I tell you that these people trashed my mother's home, my mom kept the house pretty good. Yes, we had cats, but my house was very clean. I mean, using meth keeps you up and cleaning all the time. My mom had like 12 vacuums. It was ridiculous. She was always cleaning constantly. And if I didn't clean right, then she would go clean after me or whatever it was. I think that's why I'm such a clean freak now, because she always pushed me to that level. But yeah, it was rough, man. Like, I've never seen something like that in my life. And I couldn't believe how bad they trashed my home. They could have nicely looked through things, honest to God. It was very organized in a sense, so there's nothing really to like trash. I mean, you didn't have to go flip through all the papers everywhere, all over the goddamn place. And it was ridiculous. It was fucking ridiculous, honest to God. I'm sorry I'm swearing, but it was absolutely absurd. And just no, like, why? Why would you trash someone's home? Especially, you see the child standing there. I ended up, standing there watching. And then my mom knew, she got home right after. And I remember after they left, before they left, they found one bag of like old weed or something like that. They didn't find any meth. They didn't find anything else. They had nothing. The only reason why they did this is because whoever she bought her from her drugs must have ratted or something happened. I don't even know the real reason why it even happened. I just know that they came to my mom's home because they must have seen her going to this person's home to get what she needed. I don't know. But when I tell you that I can still look to my left and see my mother's face when she was picking up all of the papers and everything in her room, I stood there and I watched her, and I've never seen her so disappointed in herself and in everything that she was doing. But yeah, I'll never forget that. The memory of her face and the look she had on her face and how sorry she was that I had to go through that. But you'll find out eventually here in the next few videos and so on that feeling sorry didn't last very long. It sure didn't. So my next video will definitely have the continuation of my preteen years and my teenage years and the things that have happened. And like I mentioned in my prior video, these videos are not necessarily for children, so please be careful watching this around other kids. And yes, I did swear, so I do apologize for that, but just being me, and sometimes those sailor ways come out. So I hope to see all of your comments and likes, and please subscribe if you'd like to hear more. And I'm so excited to be here, and thank you for letting me release all of my craziness, and thank you for listening.